Hey everyone, this video is to teach you how to solve multi-step equations where we will have to distribute and or combine like terms. So you might want to pause the video here and write these down before we get started. Alright, so when we distribute, there's a number outside of the parentheses and we have to take that number and multiply it to everything inside of the parentheses. When we were solving two-step equations, we could have divided that as our first step, but these equations are a little more complicated and we can't quite use that strategy anymore. We also might have to combine like terms. Like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. For now, we don't have to worry about the exponent part because we're solving line equations, and so they don't really have exponents. All right, so to kind of put into an application for you, we're going to be figuring out what x is in this rectangle when I know the perimeter of the rectangle is 34. So the perimeter is adding up all four sides of the rectangle. So when I add all four of these sides together, I'm supposed to get 34. So I have to figure out what value of x will make that possible. So a rectangle has the length is the same on both sides. So, don't listen to me. Sorry about that, guys. So if the top of the rectangle is 2x minus 1, then the bottom of the rectangle is 2x minus 1. If the width is x plus 3, then it's the same on the other side. And don't get too hung up on which side is the length and which side is the width, because I could just turn the rectangle this way and now it's the same exact rectangle, but the length and width are opposite. So don't get too hung up on which side is supposed to be what. The important thing is to realize that whatever I give you on the top is the same on the bottom. The left is the same as the right. All right, so since perimeter involves adding, that's where we get into our combining like terms. So I'm going to show you two ways to do this. One of them is with distribution, and the other way is to write it all out. So method 1. Method 1, we're literally just going to copy everything that we put around the rectangle with plus signs in between the sides. So 2x minus 1 plus x plus 3 plus x plus 3. And because it tells me that the perimeter is 34, if I add everything that's all around this shape, I'm supposed to make it equal 34. All right, so now I got to find my like terms and add them together. So that means x's with x's, numbers with numbers. So I like to try to make like a little box or a circle or something around them. Whenever you're figuring out what terms you have, you always look at what's in front of the term to figure out if it's positive or negative. So every time I go to circle a term, I'm including the sign in front of it. All right, and so those are all of my x's. So I'm going to add however many I have together. So 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. So all together I have, and if it helps you, you can put a 1 in front of those x's. But we did 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1. So I have a total of 6x. All right, my other terms, these terms that have no x attached to them are called constants. Constants means they have no x. So I'm going to circle all of those, all of my terms with no x. All right, and I have to combine them all together. So this is one of those things that comes up when you're solving equations, is just trying to remember how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers. I need you to realize that if you're struggling with positives and negatives, that's something that a calculator could fix for you, and it doesn't mean you're bad at solving equations. It just means that you're not to the point where you can do it without a calculator yet. The more we're doing this, you're going to start to remember what little clues the calculator was giving you, so you stop relying on the calculator to do these things for you. I am going to swap these around. So instead of this looking like -1 plus 3, I'm going to see this as a positive 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. I have the same thing over here. A positive 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have 2 over here, 2 over here, that's 4. Since I got a positive 4, we have to put plus. You always have to put some symbol in between when you combine your x's and the numbers without x. And since we got a positive, we'll put plus. If you get a negative, you'll put minus. So -1 plus 3 minus 1 plus 3 is 4. You could plug that into a calculator if you needed to. All right, so we are at this phase where we now have a two-step equation. So you should be able to solve this equation for x. I'm going to show you method 2 before we move on because I'm running out of space. So method 2 is with the distribution property. If you want to kind of make your work less long, like see how I used up almost the whole entire line for this? The other way to look at it is I have 2x minus 1s. So I can just write that like that. Plus the 2x plus 3s. I have 2x plus 3s. And that's going to give me 34. So now I can distribute, which means you multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside. So 2 times 2 is 4. Those are my x's. 2 times -1 is -2. And then I'm done distributing because that's the end of this set of parentheses. This is a closed parentheses, so I'm not going to continue to distribute. I'm going to look at the next set, and now I have a positive 2 in front of a new group of parentheses, so I'm going to distribute that. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 3 is 6. All right, and now these are the same. There's my 4x, and let me try to square this. There's my 4x and my 2x. That gave me 6x. Here's my -2 and a positive 6. And if I think about this as a positive 6 minus 2, 6 minus 2 is 4. All right, and I totally ran out of room here, but that is okay. We will improvise. All right, 2 steps. I'm going to subtract 4. I'm going to divide by 6. So x equals 5. All right, here's another example. Now this example has nothing to do with a shape or perimeter. This is just a random example that I brought up. So you can see we're going to have to distribute because we have a number in front of our parentheses. But I'm only going to distribute to that first set of parentheses because this set closes. So I'm not going to keep multiplying. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 6 because it's positive. All right, now I have another number outside a new set of parentheses, I'm going to have to distribute that as well. What I want you to pay attention to is that this number is negative. So when you're multiplying -5 to everything in the parentheses. So -5 times 4 is -20. -5 times negative, a negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 2 is 10. It's 10x because it wasn't -5 times -2. It was -5 times -2x. And it tells me that that equals 12. All right, if you want to, pause the video here and see if you can work this out on your own. I'm going to go ahead and start. So I have a 3x and a 10x. That's 13x. I have a +6 and a -20. Whenever you're combining terms and the signs are different, it's going to look like subtraction. This is like if it was -20 degrees outside and it got warmer by 6 degrees. So the thermometer was down at -20 and it went up 6. It is still very cold. It is -14 degrees. Equals 12. All right, this is my two-step equation. I'm going to add 14 to both sides. I'm going to divide